Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Rachel Reeves had a terrible day yesterday. As Mondays go, she's had better Mondays. As the Boomtown rats say, I don't like Mondays, and I don't think she does. Burnham, of course, swept magnificently back into Westminster after his Makerfield by-election victory. Labour MPs gathered around him in Westminster Hall for the obligatory modern ritual. Not the Pledge of Loyalty, of course, not a serious political meeting, but the big mass selfie. They all want to be seen in that picture, so that when he's looking to fill the various roles, their little faces are there. They are the chosen ones, the loyal ones, his Praetorian Guard, if you will. And there he was, newly sworn in, freshly suited, smiling like a man who could already smell the Downing Street coffee. And there, somewhere in the background, wearing the most grotesque pink thing you've ever seen, looking like Mr. Blobby after a particularly long illness, was Rachel Reeves, looking also like a Chancellor who's just realised the Treasury red box is going to be carried by somebody else. She looked glum. She had a fake smile, the rictus, maybe, of someone who was just having a heart attack. She had to pretend to be enthusiastic, but the eyes were dead. Because if Burnham does become Prime Minister, Reeves is widely expected to be out. And I don't just mean out from the Treasury. We mean out, gone. Backbenches, never to be seen again. His allies reportedly believe that keeping her at the Treasury would not look like change, it would look like weakness. And frankly, of course, they have a point. Replacing Keir Starmer while keeping the same economic pilot would like be repairing the Titanic, but not its hull. The question is now, who gets the keys to number 11? And of course, there's a lot of speculation and a lot of fear. Fear from the unions, fear from the backbenchers, fear from the bond markets, fear from businesses, fear from everyone. Wes Streeting has already stood aside and backed Burnham in the leadership race, which in Westminster usually means either a sudden outbreak of unity, which, given this is Labour, is exceedingly unlikely, or very carefully wrapped job offer. And you can guarantee it's the job offer. Rumours have swirled that Streeting could be rewarded with the Chancellorship, although others in Labour recoil at the thought. On the other hand, who else is there? Ed Miliband's name, of course, has also been mentioned. You want to hope not. This would cause alarm among the unions, the MPs, and etc., the ones I've mentioned. Everyone would be alarmed. Ed Miliband as Chancellor would certainly be bold, but then so is using a toaster in the bath. Meanwhile, Yvette Cooper is another possible option. Angela Rayner is tipped for a return, but not at the Treasury. Well, let's face it, she'd be worse than Reeves. She can't count at all. And Louise Haigh, who I mentioned in a previous video, definitely likely to come back in and get a senior position. She appears to be heading back towards the heart of government. It's less a cabinet reshuffle, more a political house clearance after a particularly bad Airbnb stay. Burnham himself was trying to look statesmanlike and above it all, and asked whether he would call a general election if he becomes Prime Minister. He kind of dodged the question, saying people were jumping several hurdles ahead, which I don't believe you can. I believe you can only jump the hurdle in front of you. You can see several hurdles ahead. So it's a very bad metaphor. It was a convenient dodge, though, because back when the Conservatives changed their leaders without an election, Burnham was one of the loudest voices who were very keen on the idea of going back to the country. In 2022, he demanded a general election after the Tory leadership contest. When Liz Truss resigned, he posted general election now. And it is funny how constitutional principle becomes less urgent when it's your own removal van that, you might have to call on a Friday morning, sorry. And he's not alone in facing that problem. Labour spent years attacking the Tories for changing prime ministers without a fresh mandate. And now Labour may be about to install Britain's 7th Premier in 10 years without troubling the voters. Nigel Farage is already demanding an election. Some Labour MPs even are saying the same. There's a good maybe half a dozen to maybe slightly more now. Even Alan Johnson has urged Burnham to be brave and to go to the country. Get the Burnham bounce just as Farage is coming off the boil, seems to be the plan. Because the problem is obvious. If Burnham wants to abandon large parts of Starmer's programme, tear up tax pledges, change economic direction and install a new cabinet, then what exactly is the mandate? Is he going to stick with the mandate at the election? Because if he wants a new mandate, he has to have an election. He can say Labour won a landslide, which is true, but Labour won that landslide under Starmer on Starmer's manifesto, with Starmer's promises. Burnham now has the task of claiming continuity while selling a whole brand new direction. It's a difficult trick. The political equivalent of saying nothing has changed except the leader, the Chancellor, the direction, the tax policy, and possibly the entire purpose of government. You can't square that circle, can you? Starmer, for his part, gave the usual Downing Street bluff. Nothing to do with me, this is all to do with them, blah, blah, blah. Then he gave his farewell speech. He listed his achievements. He reckoned there were 17 of them. I counted none. His voice cracked because he was emotional. I think just the wiring had started fraying. Burnt out all the diodes. He thanked his family. And then he tried to rewrite history before the removal men arrived. He talked of restoring Labour, winning power, improving the country, defending values, cutting wait lists, lifting children from poverty, and repairing Britain's standing in the world. Well, he can talk about them. He hasn't achieved any of those, though, has he? He was trying to be dignified, and he ended up looking like a sad little loser. He'd never been told no before. And it's happened, and he didn't like it. But even as Starmer spoke, the machinery had already moved on. The EU summit was postponed because the EU think no point talking to Starmer, he can't do anything. Whereas we think Burnham we can deal with. We think we can bully Burnham into accepting things. MPs were lining up, of course, behind Burnham because they always do. Streeting, of course, has withdrawn. Reeves looked doomed, and Reeves apparently is, just as an aside, apparently she is absolutely depressed. She knows she's done, and she just can't deal with it. She's apparently sort of majorly not even talking to people, not taking calls or anything. She's distraught. I go, good. Farmers ended their own lives because of that woman. Pensioners died because of that woman. She's an evil witch. So yeah, good. I hope she feels terrible. But Burnham, of course, now may get his coronation, despite some in the party wanting a candidate put up against him. Possibly John Healey, possibly Jones. Mahmood would like to have a go. I don't think she could. The problem for Labour is they don't want all men. They've never had a woman. And they need to put a woman up as a leading candidate. But who the hell would you put up that would be in any good? You know? So I think it is down to John Healey or Darren Jones. But he is going to start up now. And there's one enormous question hanging over him. If the Labour said voters deserve to say when the Tories change Prime Minister, why do voters not deserve a say when Labour do? Because the answer is, if the answer is merely that was different, then congratulations. The era of serious politics has been replaced by an era of convenient memory loss. And you've got a government that just doesn't want to go to the people because it doesn't trust the people. And that seems fair. Because we don't trust Labour. Which is why 80% of us didn't vote for them. Thanks very much. Let me know what you think. Bye.